Hey, chart master, it looks like it's getting rocky in here. It's scary. So the title of today's video is Bitcoin Reality Check. A lot of people are getting smacked around today. I'm sure there's a lot of people scared, and we need you to make sense of it all. How do we play this?
Yeah, no, that's a very interesting day today. The Bitcoin probably dropped about 20% in a single day. And what's very interesting is that I was chatting with a friend last week, and then we start exchanging. So he's like in the almost $1 million in profit in Bitcoin, and he's asking me, he asked me like 3 weeks ago, should I sell my Bitcoin and IOTA and other cryptos and pay off my mortgage so I have no debt? I said, wow, I mean, it's all about greed and fear. You need to figure it out. Where do you stand? And you know, do you believe that this is going to go, to the sky? And, can you sustain a bear market or drops? That's something you need to answer because, you know, the reality is we're going to have retracements, and retracements are hard to swallow, especially if you're $1 million in profit. One day it's basically $200,000 drop. Can you sleep when that much goes down? I find personally really hard. What do you think, Pete?
That's a great question. And I think what he needs to ask himself is in the next 10 years, what's going to be more valuable? Because paying off his mortgage could be a great thing. What's going to be more valuable, his house or his Bitcoin in 10 years? Not in 2 weeks, 10 years. What's going to be more valuable? That's $1 million question. I really am obsessed with Michael Saylor, and I watched another video, and he just says the same thing over and over again. He's like, look, it's like, what used to be the most valuable thing to own? It used to be New York real estate, used to be California real estate, LA. He's like, but you can't pick up New York City and move it anywhere. You can't pick up LA and move it anywhere. Crypto, you can use it anywhere. It's replacing, in his mind, it's more valuable than real estate, and everybody loves money. And so he says, what the rich people do, what the smart people do is they don't panic and sell. They hold their money and they borrow against their money. And even for me, as I hear them, I'm like, oh, it makes sense, but it sounds scary. What if you keep borrowing against your money, but it doesn't go up? But if you look at people who live off real estate, there's so many people, so many rich generational families have lived off the real estate. Is Bitcoin a generational wealth building tool? That's the $1 billion-trillion question.
Yeah, that's a very good question. What's funny is that I was about to ask a friend of mine, and if you're just joining this, revolution, of the cryptocurrency, and you have $50,000 in the bank, Pete, if you are sitting right now with $50,000 in the bank, not knowing what would happen today, what would you do? Do you buy $50,000 worth of Bitcoin, yesterday before it dropped today, or do you wait for a retracement? When is it a good time to enter?
I personally I'd keep 10,000 in the bank and put 40,000 in crypto, and I'd probably put 30,000 of it in Bitcoin, and definitely maybe another 5 in Ethereum, and maybe I'd spread out the next 5 into do some research in altcoins, like Cardano or something like that, and other projects coming up that look solid, that look like they have real value, not Dogecoin that are like pointless, but like things that have real practical purposes. And that's what I would do with 50K.
No, that's a great. I was about to ask him last week, but we got carried away. I'm sending him a Ferrari photo. He's sending me a, McLaren photo. Which one are you gonna go? And then, as it's so funny, it's ridiculous how this happens. Every time your mind start thinking about the $1 million, and you start dreaming about this, Ferrari, and everybody become a millionaire, the market gives you a reality check.
Yeah.
That's why it's really nice that we have each other to keep each other in check, because when
Yes.
you do by yourself, you're blind. You
Yeah.
are blind, and having a partner, having a team help us. That's why I've been hammered so many times. I have the plan, we have the plan, but when you start doing by yourself, it becomes really hard. It is a very lonely, investment or career, if you put it that way, right? And the other thing, the other day I was reading some tutorials from some other people, and they said that, probably, if not correct, investing or trading, it is the hardest profession of all of them. Why? Because it's the only profession that you're going to work the entire week or even the entire month, and you can still come out negative.
Yes.
Psychologically, it's really hard.
It sure is. It definitely is. I mean, it is definitely messes with your mind when you see your account, especially because crypto is so hot, it's so volatile. It messes up when your mind when you see your account sometimes go up 10, 20,000 in a day or more. It all depends on how much you have in there. And you can see that happen, and then you can lose 10, 20, 30,000 the next day.
Yeah.
So it definitely takes a strong mind, and so that's the key. And so you have to be disciplined either if you're a trader and really set your stop losses, which you help us with Chartmaster, or if you're someone who's holding and because I mean the thought of holding for 10 years sounds very smart and practical, but then it also sounds scary too. The scary thought is, well, if I make up my mind, I'm holding this for 10 years. Well, what if 10 years people really have decided that this is not real currency? You have arguments from people like Michael Saylor, who says basically it's the best asset in the world that's ever been invented and is going to be a serious asset for the next 1,000 years. And then you have other people who are smart and intelligent people who literally say Bitcoin's a joke. I don't care if it's a 55,000. It's a joke of a currency. It's not real. So it messes with your mind. That's all I'll say.
It's hard, right? Because the news and the information out there is, it's mixed, so it confuses the people. So which one do you go for? I think, that's why I like to look at the chart, and I like to have patterns to enter, to exit, so that I don't keep, playing this mind game. But sometimes, if you don't have a strong discipline, you don't have partners or a team, your discipline gets a little bit distorted, and then reality check comes. So let's take a look at the chart and see, does anything seems interesting here? And you're going to find very interesting what I see.
Okay, let's dive in.
Let's dive in the chart and see what's happening. And I'm going to show it to everyone out there how interesting what we see here. So what we're looking at here is the weekly chart of Bitcoin. And believe it or not, we talked about this pattern, right? Oh, where's my my tooling? I need my drawing. All right, let's see if I can get my drawing going here. Cool. Look at it. So we see this bull flag that we talked about,
Yes,
right?
that's a beautiful, perfect bull flag.
That's a perfect bull flag. And look at it. We talked about this on Friday. The bull flag has been completed.
Yes.
Right? So what happens next is unknown. But one thing that I failed to share is that I have been in many of these bull flags, and including the gold bull flag. And believe it or not, every time a bull flag happens, there is profit taking. I'm not sure if I was blind to myself or trying to lie to myself that I didn't express that there is a high probability that this pattern is about 70% accurate that you complete once it continues to its trajectory. But once it finishes, there's a likelihood that people will take profit because it's an explosive move, right? Yeah. So on any explosion, there is some kind of reaction, and this is what we're seeing over here. If we look at the daily chart, let's see if we can zoom out here. right? It's the same thing. You see, we had, the bull flag happen here. It was a nice little bull flag, right? And then it made its trajectory. We were talking about, we talk about 20K to the upside and 20K to the upside. And I think I had forgotten, because gold. I think I was in the gold ride about, 10 years ago, 2010, 2011, when this happened. And I was just riding beautifully, making money. And all of a sudden, the bull flag ended. And there was this massive. Is it always happen? I'm not sure if always happen, but from my experience, the pattern itself is 70% accurate, and I have seen 70% of the time when it completes, it goes down. Especially that I was in it. I couldn't believe my eye. I was in profit like 20, 30,000, within a few weeks, and then within a day, all the profit were gone, and then I could not believe my eyes when I opened up the charts and I saw that the entire market, silver, gold, I was in gold. So I looked in stock market, I looked in Forex, and I looked in the dollar, I looked in crude oil. Everything was up except gold. I'm like, is this a joke? Well, it's not a joke, right? It's a fact. So yeah. Interesting, right? So we need to keep that in check, because what we want to say about this, I'm telling that for you, my partner, because this is a pattern that we see that every time it forms. That's why, I had forgotten to that. Why do I like to exit before the pattern completes? Is because there are some profit taking. So when you get close to the end of the pattern, is always good to just, if you don't want to sell everything, sell 75% of your of your investment, and then keep the 25 there just in case it continues up, but it's a good time to take some profit. And I'm pointing this out because we want to take a look at what is actually happening with crypto in the monthly chart, right? So there is an article about Bitcoin on the yearly chart and what's happening on the yearly chart. So that is something that we really need to watch, right? So if we look at Bitcoin, let's see if our friends here at TradingView will let us put a monthly chart or yearly chart. Let's see if also the maximum is monthly, but let's see if I have it over here, because the yearly charts shows bull flags.
Yeah, as you're pulling that up, what it reminds me of is just the pattern this year, to where once we broke through 20,000, we went right through the 20s and into the 30s. Then we hit 30s, and we had a lot of back and forth. We got close to 40. We even went over 40. Then we went all the way down to 29, right? And I think the same pattern's happening, because then once we went to the 40s, we spent no time in the 40s. We flew right into the 50s.
And you are right on.
I think the 50s is a big psychological kind of stopping point. And it was kind of like we fought so hard to get to the 20s. And then once we got to the 20s, like, oh, Bitcoin's for real, bust up into the 30s, no problem. And once we hit 40, I think we were like, whoa, mate, this is crazy. And we don't quite believe it yet. So we spent a lot of time in the 30s. Then once we went to the 40s, like, oh, party time. And we got to get to 50. We got to see 50. And then once we flew past 50, I think a lot of people are like, whoa, wait a second. Let me take some profit, because this doesn't seem real. So I think we're going to be hanging out in the 50s for a while, and I think that's a good thing.
I think that's good. So we're at 14 minutes over here, so as to wrap up, so let me add over here again, so you guys can see that Pete, you are my witness over here, that we saw the bull flag on the weekly on the daily chart of Bitcoin today. And if you look at here on the yearly chart, this is a research paper that Rec Capital has made, and you can see that it has a bull flag, and every time the bull flag completes, what happens? There's profit taking. So this year is supposed to be a bull year. So what we should see is, if once the year complete, we should see some profit taking. So that's what we have to keep in mind, that profit taking is a healthy thing. As Pete mentioned, we are way extended. So 50s should be a nice place to see some consolidation before the next move up. And I'm hoping to see that, so that more people can jump in and actually make intelligent and smart investments so that it can make the next leg up. Pete, your final thoughts.
I just totally agree. Let's end it there, man. I think it's a good place. I'm happy where we are. The bump in the road does not scare me at all.
Cool. Very good. All right. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you on